Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Toa Samoa here, and today we are going to be installing the Delta Grant single handle pull-out kitchen faucet. Now, for anybody who knows me, well, yeah, I don't know anything about being a handyman. So I decided to challenge myself. One, because they were trying to charge me $350 because my sink was leaking. And I was like, nah, I ain't got that kind of money. And two, I mean, it does save me money. So, well, I guess that's the same reason. But, anyways, that's what I'm going to be doing. And I'm going to be doing it with one hand because my other hand is broken. So, hopefully, this goes well. Because if it doesn't, then I'm just left without a sink, and that would really suck. So yeah, if I can do it with one hand and not really knowing what I'm doing, then you can too. So without any further ado, let's get into it. So the sink that I bought was the Delta Grant. It was $99.99. And I also bought this Easy Change faucet tool. And you'll see that used later on in this video. It really came in handy when it came to uninstalling my current sink that I had, which was leaking everywhere. So here's everything that comes inside of the box. You have all of the extra parts that you need. Pretty much everything is here, and the pretty cool part about this is it supports whether you have 3 holes or 1 hole, and my sink has 1 hole in the countertop. So before we start, we're going to have to remove the old faucet. So the problem I was having here was water was leaking from the base of the faucet, and it would get all over my counter. I was also having leaking from the bottom, and it was flooding my entire bottom of the cabinets. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to turn our hot and cold water supply valves off. So you just turn it sideways, and we're going to do that to the other side as well. But I believe I had this side cut off already. So next we're going to unscrew the water lines, and we're going to use a wrench to unscrew both of the water lines on each side. So before you unscrew the water lines, you're going to want to make sure you have a bucket and some towels underneath, because there will be water that will come out from these lines. So you can see I'm unscrewing it, and then I'm putting it into the bucket and letting the water drain out. So once you're done removing the water lines, you're going to want to remove the line to the spray hose. So on mine had a button that you push it in, and then you pull straight down and the line comes out. We're going to put that line in the bucket with the rest of our other lines to drain the water out. Next, we're going to go ahead and remove the weight for the spray hose here. The weight that I had for my sink was a clip-on, so you just unclip it and it comes straight off. So that weight is what is used to hold the nozzle into place so that it doesn't flop everywhere. Next step is to pull the nozzle all the way out. Next, we're going to remove the nut and washer holding the sink in place. So this is from the Easy Installer tool I bought earlier. And this is really useful to get into tight spaces where I wouldn't be able to use a wrench. So once it's loose enough, you can pretty much unscrew it by hand. Now that we got that off, we're going to do the same thing to the top screw. So this is pretty much what it looks like once you remove the nut and washer. So this is the washer and the nut that was holding the sink into place. Now that we got that removed, we can take our sink out. This was me trying to put the new sink together, and I had no clue what I was doing. So after crying for 20 minutes, I came and gave her a pet, and I knew exactly what I had to do. So, you don't use this. You only use this part. You're gonna slide that over, attach it, and then you also need to make sure you remove this hose, which this is gonna go to the spray that connects into the faucet, which the instructions aren't very clear about. So apparently this piece unscrews. Let's try to find the other. So once you unscrew that, then you can feed it in there. Because what we're gonna do is attach it to this piece underneath the sink. So now that we've got that figured out, we can go ahead and insert our new sink. Now to mount it, we're going to be using the washer, and we're going to use this piece to secure it into place underneath the counter so that it doesn't wobble or anything like that. And you are going to need a screwdriver to screw this and tighten it into the bottom. So let's go ahead and get that started. The hoses, and then we're going to go ahead and slip both, this is really hard to do with a broken hand, both of our thingamajiggies on here. And when you do, you want to make sure that the screws are facing up, because if you're like me, I do everything wrong the first 42 times, and then that way once you push it all the way to the top, all the way to the top up there, you can screw it into the base so it doesn't wiggle around. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm not going to record this part because I can't. Everything in place to be tightened. Now all I have to do is make sure that the sink is lined up. Take our Phillips screwdriver. Try not to hit my face or head on anything. Okay, so now that I have a free hand, I can record this part. We're going to use this Phillips screwdriver to screw that in. If I can steady my hand. All right, cool. Ow! Don't do that. Don't drop the screwdriver on your face. Unfortunately, I'm right-handed, so, but my right hand is the one that's, ow! That's broken. It's my hand. No, hey, that one right, that. Right. So that one's pretty tight. And now it's time to do the other side. Yeah. Oh god. Make sure you're careful and you don't accidentally turn this valve on, or you're gonna get water everywhere. Okay. So the only reason I'm doing this is because I broke as shit, and they were gonna charge me like $350 or something like that just to come and fix the leak on my old one. And my old sink, it's so gross, and it was like, it's really old. So I was like, fuck it, I guess I'll try to learn how to do this on my own. So I pretty much did some research for like 2 weeks, because like I said earlier, I'm not the mechanic at all. That's what it looks like. And this kind of saved me money. It was like $99 for an entire new sink. Not bad. It beats $350 to just figure out how to do it yourself. So pretty much what I'm doing here is I'm feeding the spray hose down into the sink. Once that's done, we're going to go ahead and we're going to attach the hose. Now if the hose falls all the way down, all you got to do is push it back up from underneath the sink like I did there, and you'll be able to attach the hose. So now that that's done, our next step is going to be we have to thread the wand assembly onto the hose. So this is a hose, and that's the wand assembly. So to do that, you pretty much push the hose onto the wand assembly, and then you're going to use the clip that was provided to keep it together and connect it. So I kind of lost the clip, so I have to find the clip first. Cool, I found it. It's this blue piece right here. Okay, stop. I totally forgot that we needed to put the weight on before we connect it. Otherwise, there would be no way of putting the weight on. Unless you have a clip like my old sink, but I don't. So make sure you put the weight on first, and then you can connect the hose to the assembly. Okay, so this is me looking at the instructions to make sure that I put the clip on, because there is a right way and a wrong way. So make sure you actually read the instructions before you try to clip the piece together so that you don't do it incorrectly. This will save you a lot of time, especially if you're like me and forget the first 42 times. So now it's time to secure the line using our clip. And we know exactly where to put it because we read the instructions. So let's do this. Okay, so I totally fucked up and forgot the instructions. So now I'm back looking at the instructions for the 42nd time. So here you can see the clip goes above the hose, not on it. Above it, not on it. So don't do what I did. I was putting it on top of it. So this is pretty much what it looks like once you are done with the clip. Make sure that it is above the hose connection and not on top of that metal piece. And we can just look at the instructions. So unfortunately my phone died because I'm trash, but the next step would be to attach the water supply valves and then turn the valves back on, and you do that the same exact way we took them off. So the last step is to flush the lines for at least 1 minute with the water in the middle of the mixer. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm turning the water on, and now we're just going to wait for 1 minute. So you want to make sure that you flush the lines. This is important to get any debris out of the lines. That debris can cause issues in the long run. So just make sure you flush it for 1 minute. It's recommended that you take the spray off. So I had to take that off, and then you can put that back on afterwards. So I know I said that was the last step, but I lied. This is the last step. Once you're done flushing it for 1 minute, you want to make sure that you check for any leaks here and anywhere with the tags. You'll see tags, colored tags on the lines. That's where you want to check for leaks, and then you also want to check around the base of the faucet. So that's pretty much it for this video. It took me about 2.5 to 3 hours to uninstall the old sink and install the new one. If you have any questions or you guys want to see any other type of videos, just like, subscribe, and comment below.